Welcome back to the Procrastinario. My name is Jan and today we're continuing our Let's Play as Prussia. We, of course, were still at war with the Danes, to which Snowy Frog told us that the Danes will never surrender. Of course, I replied that it's inevitable. But first, we're gonna, while we let the siege siege, because we have nothing better to do, we're going to talk about what the new expansion will bring, which is, it's called Wealth of Nations. Apparently Austria is embargoing us now. And there are four main features because they released a little bit more about it. The first one is the invisible hand of the market. You can act covertly to instigate trade conflicts among the competition, stifling income and leaving yourself atop of the economic heap, which is fantastic. You can basically go, if you're, as far as I understand it, if you're in Lübeck, you can kind of maybe get, I don't know, the Hansa in Sweden to go to war or something like that. Which leaves you to break in all the cash, of course. The next one is size of seize the seas. Seize the seas. It's difficult to say seize the seas. You wouldn't believe it, but it is. Hiring privateers can damage enemy shipments and cripple their trade, but risks retaliation in form of open warfare if you are caught. Makes sense. The next one is capitalize. Empires can designate a specific port as their trade capital, separate from their national capital, and strengthen local trade routes through the use of inland trade nodes. Fantastic. What this basically means is you can build a capital. For example, our capital is Stettin, right? But let's say our capital wasn't Stettin and it was Brandenburg, like it's supposed to be because it's Berlin. Let's say Brandenburg or Berlin was our capital, and our capital is actually, that one would be good. All about, let's say Breslau or Oberlausitz or something that isn't in our Lübeck node. But let's say it was one of these nations, like, I don't know, Warsaw. Okay, let's pick Warsaw. Let's say our capital was Warsaw. And we wanted still to have a lot of trade power and be able to collect in Lübeck, because it's a seaport. And it's a different trade node, or in the Baltic Sea. Well, from what I understand, from what they shared, is you will now be able to go into, let's say, Stettin and be like, hey, I want this to be my trade capital, which will allow you to strengthen trade into those places, which is awesome. I mean, it is something that we do want to happen. And then they shared one last thing, which is basically monopolize and mobilize. Form an East India Company and reach faraway trade partners with unstoppable shipping concerns. It basically allows you to add a bunch of trade through places where you don't necessarily have provinces, but with the establishment of the East India Company, you can kind of place trade ports, sort of, I guess. I didn't really understand what they meant with that, but I'm guessing it's some sort of helping with trade, because this update is focused on trade. We have good government policies. Changes of policies, when cleverly timed and made, were often well perceived by the people of the time beyond their actual efficiency, as proof of the government's goodwill and interest in the welfare of the realm. We can use money to increase stability. We gain a stability point. Invest in government, gain 25 of each points, or fill out our treasury and get a bunch of money. We're going to boost stability because we were at -1 and now we're not anymore. Also, there is one thing that happened that I realized just now. See, Sheeland is the Danes are at war with the Swedes, which is a bit of an issue, because in this patch, it's basically broken. So if I now take the Danes as our vassal before their war with Sweden ends, I will not be able to... I mean, I will be immediately thrown into war with Sweden, which I totally get and totally accept, but because of a bug, all our allies, which are numerous, they will be auto-called into war and they will auto-decline, which means we would lose all 4 of our big alliances. And I am not that happy with that kind of an outcome. So we might just be in this war forever. And just wait until they give up, basically, until the other war ends in some way. I don't know, something, because yeah, if we vassalize them now, then it's going to cause issues. And we have an excellent year, and we gain almost 3,000 and something manpower. Let's see, we're still improving relations with a bunch of people, which is good. The Ottomans still hate us. I still have that history be prepared on Serbia, actually, so we are going to talk about Serbia. Serbia, in the game, is a kingdom. Of course, it's Orthodox, it's Serbia. But it is a kingdom. Historically, it wasn't a kingdom. At this point in time, it was a kingdom before, and it was an empire after, but during the period where the game started, it was actually a despotate. Despot. They were ruled by a despot. Can't figure out how to pronounce that. Yeah, so that happened. Yeah, so they were a despot. They were a successor to the Serbian Empire. Actually, yeah, the Serbian Empire was before, they became a kingdom after. Again, it's weird. They are successor to the Serbian Empire. That only lasted 25 years, but it was actually quite big. It basically encompassed all of this area. I think it had Macedonia, Monastir, Albania, maybe Epirus and Thessaly were also in it, but maybe it ended up here, I'm not quite sure. But it was normal present-day Bosnia and Serbia and half of Greece, basically. We've now completely conquered the Danes. Now, if the Swedes could peace out, and they did, which is fantastic, we're now going to sue for peace and make them our vassal. We cost us 37 diplomatic power. We have a conquest casus belli. We gain 5 prestige and 50 aggressive expansion. No one but Sweden cares. So yeah, Snowy Frog, take that. They will surrender. Ha! We're now going to, of course, improve relations and marry them. They are still militarist, but they can't really do much about it, can they? No, because we conquered them successfully. These people back onto the boat. Haha, that's what happens. The first despot of Serbia, let's go back to Serbia, was Stefan Lazarevic. He was the first, a despot. But it's a bit awkward, the entire situation, basically, it's a bit awkward, but I accidentally took these ships with me as well. Technically Lubeck. He was a despot, but he wasn't old enough to be despot on his own. So his mother was his regent, and her name was Princess Milica. Milica. That's the way. For some reason I meant all English there. Her name was Milica, which is a lovely name. And I think she was I think a Byzantine princess or something. But she basically pacified the Ottomans for a while, not for long though, for a while, and married one of her daughters off to the heir of the Ottoman Empire. Because that's what mothers do. Marry off their daughters to their worst enemy. Because why not? We have too many diplomatic relations still. Yeah, we know. Don't we have an alliance? No, we don't. Why not? Because we don't like them. I still don't get why that hasn't been fixed yet. Or at least made more logical. The Serbian Despotate actually became a despotate in 1402 when the Byzantine Emperor Manuel II, Palaiologos, I think? Palaiologos? I don't quite remember, but he bestowed the despotate onto Stefan. Or Stefan. Depends how you wish to pronounce it. They were first... It's so weird, because technically they were an Ottoman vassal in the 1390s, and then they weren't, became a vassal of Hungary and got Belgrade for it, which then became the capital. And then in 1409 they were an Ottoman vassal again, but they didn't think they were, and then... But basically, in 1421, they control everything. By 1421 they control everything they control at the beginning of the game here, so... Yeah, that happened. You don't like us. Inflation is on the rise, why not? And to improve relations with France now, they are of course our ally. Which is weird, because France and Prussia were never really allies. I mean, they were at war most of the time. And we have a new technology. Custom House and Naval Base. A customs house was a government building that handled the necessary paperwork regarding the import and export of goods into the country, as well as collecting customs duty. Fantastic. Hungary and Austria are allies again. Because if we remember correctly, they weren't by the end of the last game. The next important despot was Juraj Brankovic, who was a nephew of Stefan, I think. And because Stefan died, he had to return Belgrade to Hungary, Belgrade was a gift up until the death of the monarch. So he built a new capital in Smederevo, which still exists. Part of it, you can still see the ruins. It's somewhere over here. Actually, not somewhere over here, somewhere. I'm not quite sure. But he was a coward, and in 1439 he fled Serbia to escape the Ottoman invasion instead of staying and fighting for his country and basically let other people in charge, which then basically forced allowed the Ottomans to occupy Serbia between 39 and 1444. Which was then, it was restored as a despotate by the Hungarian, Serbian, and Romanian alliance, which is the alliance. The bookmark of this game, the first bookmark, is after that war. There were several other rulers plus a regency council during some point, and in 1459 it was finally captured by the Ottomans, and yeah, completely annihilated. We have two idea groups that we can take. Well, two ideas. We're not going to take the administrative idea, but we are going to take the military idea. Oh no, they're both administrative ideas. Oh, poo. Yeah, and we're gonna take one of them. We're going to take the patron of the arts one. Our prestige will go down slower. Maybe. Actually, no, we're going to take the technology. That's what we're going to do. We're gonna do it properly. Yeah, but that's it what I had for Serbia. It isn't really that impressive, actually. We're going to take the prestige in that case. Of course, nations have started colonizing more and more over here. 13 colonies expanded as well. And Floride became a thing. Because the French colonized enough. Castilian Canada up here, which is weird. The Dutch. I actually like that they allow you, once the colonial nation is formed, they give you an option to basically choose what you want to call the nation. Which is fantastic if you ask me. It's an important bit to it. Because it's kind of something that you would want. I mean, you would want to be able to name your own colonial nation, because that's how they did it. They didn't just spawn and be like, yes, we're gonna be called this now, but the mother nation basically decided a name, and for a while it didn't look like we were going to be able to do that during the dev process, but then we did, so that's fantastic. And the Bible has been translated. A priest in our house has translated the Bible into our language and has started to distribute copies of it to nearby villages through Midland. We can burn it, gain plus 20 prestige with everyone except with Denmark. Or the great news, spread this Bible far and wide. The papal state will hate us more, everyone else will just hate us by -10, and Denmark will like us more. So we're going to spread these Bibles, we're going to spread these Bibles far and wide. Of course, Austria doesn't care, they're not in the Empire. We're not in the Empire. So that's fantastic. There are still some Dutch patriots over here. Trying to conquer Zeeland again, which is fantastic. They should do that. Finally remove Austria from up here. In my single player game I conquered the lowland just so that Austria couldn't get them. As I've been playing as France, the newest one, because I wanted to be an easy nation to play, and France is an incredibly easy nation to play because of their size and their military power, of course. We're going to actually take the mission to incorporate Denmark into our country. Are they still a rival? No, Bohemia is though. Don't know why we're improving relations with them if they're a rival. We had an advisor die. We're going to take the land force limit guy. The first one we can. And yeah, you don't love us anymore. You're irritated? Oh, is that because I spread the Bible around? Funny people. Improve relations up. If they got to 165, I think we now have enough money to bribe them for another 25. So it's gonna go up by 10, and then the irritated is gonna go away. Hopefully. A bit. And then we can start integrating them into the empire. I don't care how long it takes, I just want them as part of the empire. Because that would increase our size dramatically and increase our manpower pool, which is currently only 57,000 the maximum, and the French is probably over 100,000 by now, considering their size. Surprised they haven't dipped into Castile yet. Do Castile, yeah, they don't lead a personal union with Aragon. Interesting. Austria, of course, considers us a rival. Which is weird, because they shouldn't, because historically Austria was always quite happy to join in Prussia's advances, and at some point really wanted to be part of Prussia. Saxony insulted us. If we attack them, the Emperor will intervene. Relations with France. Don't we have a... Oh no, we don't have a truce with the Emperor anymore, do we? Such a shame. At some point we probably will, again. Relations again over there. What is this? The Evangelic Union? The Holy Roman Empire had a fragile balance. Why? We don't care, we're not part of the empire. Split between 10 major and nearly 400 minor states and principalities, as well as 2 opposing religions. The power of the emperor were quite limited beyond his direct domains, and the erratic and inconsistent behavior of some of them, as Rudolf II, increased frictions. In 1609, this is a bit early. A bit late, actually, 21 years late. In 1608, the Protestant city of Donauwörth, which is something on the river Donau, which is this river, refused Catholics to the right to practice their cult and is banned from the empire. As a reaction, most German Protestant states formed the Evangelic Union to defend their freedom. We can join it, and Aachen, Bohemia, Frankfurt, Austria, Hesse, Mecklenburg, Munster, the Palatinate, Saxony, Switzerland, Thuringia, Trier, Ulm, Würzburg, Ferrara, Genoa, Mantua, Milan, Savoy, Tuscany, blah 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 blah, and Prussia would and Prussia. They would hate us by -50, but Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and the Rhine will love us. Or we can stay neutral and lose some prestige. We're going to join the Evangelic Union. For no reason. Ah, just 2 more. Come on, come on. Needs to take over. You know what needs to... The irritated claim needs to go away, and then we can bribe them into getting them to 190, and then we can get this going. They have a disputed succession, a war between France and Castile. That would be a lovely war. We should have quite a bit of trade power here. Yeah, we make 11.2 now, which is good. If we could get Hansa into the Empire, which is impossible because they're too big. Yeah. Has it passed 188? Economy, send gift, many gifts. 12, 14, let's do it for 25. Yeah, I'll give them the 300, I don't care. I don't care. Integrate, 6th, come on quickly. Please don't get a stupid event in the meantime that reduces our everything. Integrate! Yes, it will be done in 36, so in 7 years. Yes! Yes! After all this time, Lithuania will be ours! God, that took a long time to get them into the empire. A long time. God. Then we will be a powerhouse. We'll have to deal with Lithuania, of course, because we'll now border them. But we'll be able to go after the Livonians and Riga over here in the north. Mostly the Livonians will be able to go after both and then finish off that part of the nation. We still have that claim on these 2 provinces, Kurland and Semigalia, because... Oh, we have it among Kurland, we don't have it on Semigalia anymore, apparently. Oh, it's Samogitia. Right, these 2, because they're Prussian, apparently. But yeah, they're gonna be integrated in 6 years. So fantastic. We're actually gonna speed up time a bit. So excited, because we're not at war and we don't need time. National decline. With the discovery of previously unknown continents and the establishment of new trade routes, a new maritime era has been born. Explorers of other nations are returning home with highly sought after cargo of spices, luxuries, and commodities. Our country's importance as a trading nation has suddenly diminished, and we are faced with a sudden economical decline, forcing our government to regulate our expenditures. I'm sorry, we don't know. We are not. We never were a trade power in the first place. So I don't understand what they're on about. And we're going to reduce investment in military for 10 years, which is fine, I think. Yeah. Which now puts this up to, yeah, it's not that bad, actually. So we're okay. And we can take college and mint. College and mint. Money and people are what we need to govern efficiently. We need to create a class of administrators who are skilled not only in scholastic philosophy, but also have a solid grounding in mathematics, the classics and the Bible. Secondly, we need to ensure the stability of coinage by making it uniform in quality. Basically a uniform uniform something or other. Uniform currency, which is good. Uniform currencies are good. That's why we like them. The same currency. We would love to have the same currency everywhere, but it doesn't work that way. Because now the entire economic situation in all the nations are the same. Shame. But yeah, how many do we need for the next one? Really? We're that far behind? Yeah, we are. Okay. But that is it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. You can still vote on the new series if you go to whatever it's called. I can't remember. I can't remember the number I picked for it. But if you go to the channel update video, there is a link to a poll for the new series. You can click on it, vote for your favorite series. Currently Zoo Tycoon 2 is winning. And yeah, that's it for this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next time, bye-bye.